So, I just got a Nintendo Switch Lite, and honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. After using it for a couple days, I think I can actually give a decent and actually somewhat well thought out review or perspective on how I actually feel about the Nintendo Switch Lite and how it actually compares to the normal vanilla Nintendo Switch, and if it's actually worth buying one of these. So, let's get started. But before I actually, talk about my review or perspective on the Nintendo Switch Lite, exactly what is the Nintendo Switch Lite and why does it really exist? So by definition and given Nintendo's track record with other portable consoles, the Nintendo Switch Lite is supposed to be a more slimmed down / portable version of the normal Nintendo Switch. I mean, granted, the normal Nintendo Switch is a well respected portable console / home console, but the Nintendo Switch Lite takes one of those sides and, takes it a step further. Sort of. Or a step down. It depends how you look at it. The reason behind that is because, well, in order to make the Nintendo Switch Lite cheaper or more portable, it really depends how you look at it, Nintendo had to remove a lot of features from the normal vanilla Switch in order to make the Nintendo Switch Lite. And there's a lot of stuff to go through. One of the main big differences between the normal Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch Lite is the fact that on the Nintendo Switch Lite, you can no longer remove JoyCons on it, mainly because, well, there aren't any JoyCons on it. Like the 2DS, sort of, the entire thing is just one big, console, I suppose. Because there's no actual Joy-Cons on it, so you can't remove Joy-Cons. The second main big difference, and probably the most important one, to be honest, is the fact, well, you cannot put a Nintendo Switch Lite into a dock and hook it up to your TV, mainly because, well, one, it won't fit at all, and two, I am assuming they either got rid of it altogether or disabled it through software, the ability to hook up a Type-C cable and plug it into a TV altogether, because I tried modifying my Switch dock, I tried using a Type-C to HDMI cable directly, it just does not work. I'm assuming they either removed it altogether or the software locked it, but I'm feeling it's still there now because, well, we still have the same charger, but we'll talk about that later. So basically, you cannot dock a Nintendo Switch Lite into a TV, basically making this a only portable console. There's also some minor things that we also lost, such as the rumble feature, the kickstand, the arrow buttons on the left Joy-Con in place of a D-pad, which is honestly kind of better, to be honest. So, I mean, that's a plus. And, that's really it, I guess. Another downgrade that we kind of received from Nintendo on the Nintendo Switch Lite is, I suppose, a smaller screen compared to the normal Nintendo Switches. But granted, the screen is only like less than an inch smaller, so really you can't tell that big of a difference. Even if you put it side by side, they're essentially the same. Not really, you can clearly tell there's a difference, but honestly, when playing, there's not that big of a difference, to be honest. And yes, it's still a 720p screen, and it's not the greatest in the world, but compared to like the 3DS or some other things, it's not the worst in the world. And honestly, just to play some portable games, it's more than what we need. But enough about that, let's actually talk about my perspective on the Nintendo Switch Lite, and if you should actually buy one. Okay, well, first of all, it's smaller, and honestly, I don't really hate it. In fact, I kind of like the fact that it is smaller and, I suppose, lighter and just overall more portable than the normal Nintendo Switch. And after using it for a couple days, taking it to school, using it at lunch, using it behind my teacher's back, using it during a test, or using on the bus back home, or just using it at home in general, or just really using it altogether in general, I actually kind of enjoy using it more than the normal Nintendo Switch. I really don't know how to explain it, but I suppose the simple, easy answer is that I suppose it's more comfortable than the normal Nintendo Switch, because after using this for a couple days, then going back to my normal Nintendo Switch, I keep on finding myself, I don't really like this anymore. Because I kind of had trouble readjusting myself back to the normal Nintendo Switch controls. And, I mean, yes, Joy-Cons aren't really never going to be that comfortable unless Nintendo finds a more ergonomic way to make them. But, I don't know, every time I started using the Nintendo Switch in the portable mode, I keep on thinking to myself, I really want to go back to my Lite version. And that's kind of what happens. Almost every time I take this off the dock and start playing games on the go, I keep on thinking to myself, can I just use my Lite instead? And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Actually, the more I think about it, it's probably a good thing, because, I mean, the Nintendo Switch Lite is supposed to be a more portable version of the already very portable Nintendo Switch. So, the fact that it's more comfortable than the normal Nintendo Switch is honestly a pretty good thing. So, huh. Okay, sure, it may be comfortable to use, but what about actual gaming experience? Well, I can actually vouch that it's actually not awful, to be honest. Now, granted, yes, the smaller screen doesn't really kind of make a difference, to be honest. You're not going to really tell the difference. And yes, it is kind of weird, the fact that, well, you no longer have the detachable JoyCons, but, I mean, it is pretty comfortable to use. I mean, any Nintendo Switch game is going to work on this. Yes, some games may kind of rely on the rumble feature, and also other games like 1-2 Switch depend on having you detachable Joy-Con, so you are gonna have to get separate controllers for that. But I mean, it can basically play almost any Nintendo Switch game right out of the box, and you'll be perfectly fine for almost any game, such as I don't know, Splatoon 2, because that's still a thing. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because Mario Kart Tour kind of sucks. I don't know. Smash Bros, Mario Odyssey, and Minecraft Story Mode for some reason. But I mean, it's gonna play any Nintendo game you have, and it works fine, I guess. But I will say this: every time I do start playing some kind of game, every time I start the game, it just feels weird. I suppose it just looks funny on this thing. I don't know if it's because of the overall color and design of it. It's because of the white buttons and the turquoise color. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know if it's because of the color or just how it feels. It does look strange when you first start a game. I really don't know. It's just because of the color ratio, because Mario Odyssey is like almost all red, sort of, and compared to the blue, it just looks weird. But I mean, like, when starting any kind of game, it just looks mildly weird, and I really don't know if it's just because of the color, it's just my personal thing, or just a thing that's been happening to everyone. But I mean, it's not gonna really affect you after a couple minutes. You just get used to it, just accept it. But I mean, once you first start a game, it does feel strange, especially after coming from a normal Switch. But I mean, if this is gonna be your first Switch, you probably don't really have a reference off. So I don't know. And then there's battery life, and oh boy, the Nintendo Switch Lite's battery life is actually not awful. So the Nintendo Switch Lite is supposed to be getting around 4.5 to around 9-ish hours, and I can actually vouch for that. I was easily able to get around 8-ish hours, just playing games like Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, and some Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is usually the battery killer on the Nintendo Switch, but, playing all those different games, I was able to get around 7 to 8 hours. That was way more than enough for what I need for, an average school day. And compared to my normal Nintendo Switch, granted, yes, this thing is nearly 2 years old, and yeah, it's not the great thing, but I mean, I was barely able to get around 4-ish hours just playing games like Mario Odyssey, and this was a really nice refresh, because this thing's battery life is just not great. I mean, granted, yes, there's the Nintendo Switch V2, I guess that's what people calling it, but I mean, just gonna put that over there and just. And I suppose, what about peripherals or just overall other features of the Nintendo Switch? Well, I mean, you still have your game card flap on the top. You still have your volume up and down buttons. You have your power button. For the SD card slot, you also have another flap over it because you don't have your kickstand to cover it anymore, which honestly doesn't really matter to me because I don't really use the kickstand. I don't really know if anyone really used it because it was awful. And yeah. We still have your capture button, you have your home button, you have your A, B, X, Y buttons, you have your 2 circle pads, you have a D-pad, which is amazing, your plus and minus buttons, and you have your Type-C port for charging and no longer able to output to a TV or monitor, which kind of sucks, but whatever. And then I guess there's the screen. I mean, it's not the worst. It's 720p. It's a tiny bit smaller than the normal vanilla Switches. But it's more than enough for what we need, and I mean, 720p is not that bad. And I suppose this brings me back to the original question of this video. Who is the Nintendo Switch Lite actually for, I suppose? Well, like any other review, or I guess, yeah, really any kind of other review, it really depends on the person. Because, well, if you know for certain that you're never going to put your Switch into a dock and hook it up to a TV, or you just want to buy a Switch for a couple games that are out right now, put it away later, maybe take it back out when a new game comes out, or, like, you know for certain that, like, you don't really need detachable Joy-Cons, or you have spare controllers for other friends or something like that, or some other things that I'm forgetting, well, then, yeah, sure, the Nintendo Switch Lite is probably for you, but to be honest, I would probably spend the extra $100 and get a normal Nintendo Switch. Here's my reason why. So for an extra $100, you are getting a lot more features for your Nintendo Switch compared to the Nintendo Switch Lite, and some of those features are, as I mentioned earlier, having removable Joy-Cons, which isn't going to be, well, the game changer or deal breaker, to be honest. But, I mean, if you are living with a sibling or a roommate or someone else that you want to play games with, have some kind of 1v1 match in Mario Kart, Smash Bros, or some other games I'm forgetting, it will be handy to have an extra Joy-Con so you can just hand it off to a player too and just have some fun, or just, I don't know. You do have the ability to put it into a dock and hook it up to a monitor, which is always amazing because, I mean, yeah. You do have the rumble feature, which isn't the most necessary thing for most games, but it does help. Literally any Nintendo Switch game will automatically work on this because the Nintendo Switch Lite may have some issues with some games like 1-2 Switch and other games that really don't matter, to be honest. You have your kickstand, I suppose. That's a thing. I don't know. You are getting a tiny bit bigger screen, which isn't that big of a huge deal. I mean, you are getting also huge bezels, so that's a thing. But forgot what else I was going to say. Well, basically what you are getting for that extra $100 is the ability to put it into a dock and having removable Joy-Cons. Which really does depend on who you are and what you actually need with your Switch. And if $300 isn't really, I guess, your price tag for a Nintendo Switch, you can always buy this thing used and, I don't know, save that money for a game or so. But if you know for certain that you don't want to put it into a dock and you really don't need, removable Joy-Cons, or you can just buy a secondary controller or something like that, then yes, the Nintendo Switch is probably the option for you. Because, I mean, I really don't know. I'm not, forcing you to buy the normal Switch or the Nintendo Switch Lite. I really can't force you to buy either one. I really can't force you to buy a Switch in general. Most of you guys are probably going to say just get an Xbox or something. Basically, I'm just giving my opinion on how I feel about the Nintendo Switch Lite. It's a great console. It does what it needs. It served its purpose as being a light version or portable version of the Nintendo Switch. And I honestly, if I had to choose between, bringing this and this with me on a road trip, I honestly probably would choose the Nintendo Switch Lite. But honestly, if I had to choose buying between one of these, if I had the extra $100, I would probably buy this instead of, buying this in a game or so. I probably would just buy this and just save up money for some other game for later time. But if you guys don't have that patience or really have the money, then yeah, go buy a Nintendo Switch Lite. It's still a great console. You probably won't regret it that much. And honestly, someone's eventually going to mod this thing and hook it up to a TV eventually. So either way, you're going to get a Switch. So yeah. Well, that was exhausting, mainly because, well, this was my third time filming this entire video, because the first time, garbage. Second time, almost all the files got deleted for some godforsaken reason. Third time, which is this one, actually succeeded, and I kind of had to rush the entire thing, so sorry if I talked really fast and started through everything. I was in a rush, mainly because, well, throughout the entirety of next week, I don't really have time to film. I can kind of edit the video, which is probably what I'm going to have to do, but honestly, we'll see what happens. But basically, if you guys actually did enjoy the video, hit the like button, maybe consider subscribing and the notification bell. If you guys didn't like the video, well, hit the other button and just go watch a better video somewhere else, because obviously these videos aren't good enough, I suppose. But if you guys really did like the video, hit the like button, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, maybe leave a comment down below telling me how awful I am at this, and, or some other things, I don't know. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next month. Somewhere. I don't know. I'm gonna play Smash Bros.